Okay, this is the committee of the whole meeting, August the 3rd, and I'll call the meeting to order, and the pledge of allegiance will forego till the council meeting. Need an approval for the July 6th minutes, and if there are any questions, additions, or corrections before it's approved? If not, the motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the July 6th Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Don't see any presentations. Department updates. Do you want to give your tax update now or wait till council?
I can do it now.
Okay.
But council will need to approve it in the council.
Yeah, right. This is just the highlights of the highlights.
Okay, so for this period, we have taken in, $1,463,562 and some change. Compared to last year where it was $1,319,460. So that is an increase of, about 144,000. It still has revenue coming in and legal is still collecting at Rita Legal. I'm still working on that project, as you can see in that third paragraph, but it's going pretty good. And then I'm wrapping up Fun in the Sun this year. We were able to do 7 weeks instead of 6. I'm on my last week of that, which is typically my favorite one, where we do First Responders Day. So we will be having our police department with all the surrounding departments, including the sheriff's department and state highway patrol, and the Harrison Township Fire Department, along with MedFlight and Area Vac, come back this year for us. So the kids will get to get in the cruisers and all that good equipment and fun cars for the day and have fun.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Martina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, legislative information, we just discussed that at council because that's where it's to be anyway. Is there any old business that anybody can think about that we need to talk about?
Mayor, I would actually like to talk about some of the legislation, in particular ordinance 2026 Tech 15
Okay.
on the 2-hour parking.
Yes, I'm gonna pull that tonight because
Okay.
the safety committee has some continuing discussion. What's the best option? So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but to save you, so go ahead now.
No, I think that's wise, Mayor.
Okay.
And actually, I'll chime in just a little bit here that we can discuss now with it being the committee of the whole. One suggestion that was brought up is looking at one-way streets with possible diagonal parking on possibly both sides where it's allowable. And I'm looking for anybody to chime in and give me opinions on that while we're here at the committee of the whole and we're able to speak about it.
I wonder if we've got a solution looking for a problem here. Honest to God, this is a personal issue with two people next to each other, and when you start going down that road, and I drive by there all the time. There's generally plenty of parking. You go anywhere else to eat, you park around the corner and you walk to the restaurant. This is a personal fight between two people, and it's been going on for 20 years. And I don't particularly like the village looking like we're picking sides here. Because honest to Christ, these people have not been good friends of the village, the people that own that place. They haven't even that good of friends of the village. And I'll just say that right now.
Well, Dave, I'll just ask you this though, mine was a little more forward thinking in that as we expand and we have developments all around, we're going to ask people to come downtown, come into the old village and participate in events.
Now, I like your notion about diagonal parking.
My thought is this opens it up, but to possibly look at a lot of places, especially in the old village closer to the park, open it up to create more parking spots for the events we hold there and hopefully hold more events.
And then you would have to create some one-way streets for that. Absolutely.
And it would tie in with the the construction that's going on when they end up redoing some of these streets, and some of the streets that don't have curbs, they'll end up taking some of the grass things back, and we'll end up having streets, open it up some one-way streets with diagonal parking to get the most bang for our buck out of parking.
No, I agree with you in that respect, Ron, that forward thinking, that has to be an issue.
Mhm.
I don't like jumping into a personal dispute. I think we need to be more forward thinking about everything, like you said,
Mhm.
as far as that goes. So just saying.
Okay.
And to do all this for one individual, I mean, it's a lot of work, costs a lot of money, just for one beef between the patrons, or, I mean, what they want to start. And I'm gonna start parking my neighbors, or they're going to complain, and
Well, I think in some respects though, on Harrison Street for Kelly Joe's, they posted no parking signs east of Kelly Joe's. Well, first of all, there's no curbs. and
There's no
gutters
curbs there, absolutely.
Right, to keep people out of their
Out of the
yards.
grasses and everything, yeah, exactly.
they
So,
need to have
you know,
curbs in
this-
there.
You know, the one-way and the diagonal parking picks up, according to what Bert come up with, about 22 parking spaces in that area. Yes, it is a feud between neighbors that I frankly don't know that there's a legal remedy that the town can do to somebody that has 5 or 6 or 7 vehicles. Supposedly back in the archive somewhere, there's an ordinance where you're allowed 2 parking spaces per residence. That probably needs at least to be updated to 3 with, so I don't know that it needs to be 6 or 7.
But I honestly haven't driven by and seen 6 or 7 vehicles. I see maybe 3.
I have
Yeah.
counted them. If you count the ATV and the
Motorcycle.
trailer and the motorcycle, and because you got 2 vehicles, I think on Powell Street, 2.
I think you need to enforce the ordinance of how many cars you can have on the street
Well,
first. Real
yeah.
honestly, the first that'd be your first.
The question then becomes, how do you enforce it? You can't mark the tires.
I can't
can't-
do 2-hour parking and ask his people to go around.
That's why we're looking
You know,
at something
enforcing Cherry
different.
Street Diner.
That's
That'd make any sense.
No. And that was one of the things that came up
Talk
at
about
that meeting,
resources. I
was
mean, gee.
we do not have the resources in order to do that, watch tape and everything else. So it was kind of looking at the idea of what solution can happen on that street, not necessarily just for those 2, but open up wherever. If we end up going up to Kelly Joe's, and when those streets get done, open up diagonal parking, they do a heck of a business. We ask our businesses to bring people in. I think it's part of our responsibility to try to be forward thinking and come up with parking spots for those customers that do come into the village to help make the village worthwhile to come into downtown.
No, I agree with that. When
Yeah.
in the spots where we can do, we talked at one point in time about buying the lot next to the laundromat and turning it into a parking lot. At one time, you know, that kind of thing.
And we actually in the safety meeting mentioned up just quite a few other different ideas, like the Village owns there on Cherry Street, those 2 buildings behind the museum. Somebody threw out that at one time it was talked about leveling those and putting a paid parking spot there and have the money go towards helping support the museum. I don't know. I just throwing that out there that somebody mentioned that.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked about that in the past.
Yeah.
But it's a good usable building, and I hate to tear down a
Yes.
good usable building. that's
Yes.
all.
Right.
Yeah.
To create a parking spot for one business.
Yeah.
For one business.
Yeah, and I agree that I think the 2-hour parking, as we talked about at the last meeting, I think that I'm not even sure that solves the problem without creating 3 additional problems. But I think that this one way with diagonal parking and just creating more parking spaces could be a win-win, and it could be a pilot. Hey, we start with these 2 streets, let's see how that goes, and maybe that's a model that we expand across all part of the village.
And we go back to the public that showed up at our last meeting and mentioned that they park in their little alleyway and they have friends coming over that can't park. The people that are out on Long Street have friends come over and can't park. If we can create more open parking, it's not just for that business.
Right.
It's for everybody that lives in that stretch of street, both on Long and Cherry.
That feels more like a win-win, and we're not just trying to solve one issue for one individual.
Yes.
But we're helping other places. And again, we can look at that model once we decide what we're going to do. We can look at that model and then figure out other areas in the village that it makes sense.
Mhm.
Possibly over there, I'm going brain dead for a second, Crumley, where it's real tight.
Yeah, we had
Oh,
talked about trying to
yeah.
make that one
And-
way
and-
a
and-
while back. You remember,
Right.
Roger? We actually discussed
And
it. That street actually makes sense because you
Yeah.
really have to squeeze if you're going.
And especially since they're
Yeah,
on,
wait.
you go
Yeah.
further, you go further north there on May where you have a lot more people, a lot more traffic now.
Mhm.
We can explore other options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's something as a comprehensive plan needs to be looked at.
Does
Absolutely.
Safety have a meeting scheduled soon?
I am, I haven't got one on the books yet, but I plan on meeting. We just met last week.
22nd.
Yeah, 22nd. So I plan on moving forward. I wanted to figure out what exactly, do we need to go to the solicitor to come up with something to write in to change an ordinance for the one-way parking? I need to
Yes.
I need to get all that down.
Yep.
So I'll work with April and work with that on what we need to do for that process before we bring it to the committee for recommendation.
And I imagine there would be, if you're just painting lines, I'm sure the cost is probably nominal, but there's going to be a cost associated with signage,
Mhm.
Yeah.
painting lines, so on and so forth. So we'll want to obviously make sure we have a handle on that as well.
And I think the biggest thing too, so I definitely support that concept too, just because my concern, while I would like to restrict the parking, I don't know how we enforce it. I just don't know how that works yet. So without having a good solution to that, I think the one way is something that we definitely need to explore. Something you guys might want to do while you're in that meeting as well too, maybe is talk about what the process should look like should another business down the road make a request. Because we do have two other businesses in the village that have particular parking in front of their business or to the side. So if another business or entity makes a request, we might want to formalize a way to to handle that, or how they apply for it, or what the process is,
Mhm.
because we can't make everything a one way,
Yeah.
in theory. So we may want to have a plan put together for should there be another request down the road.
All good
According,
points.
yeah, according to solicitor, to change that to diagonal and one way, you'd be two ordinances. You have to have an ordinance to make it one way and an ordinance to make it diagonal parking. And, we just need to make up our minds and do something rather than not do something like it seems like we've done in the past. And, we've even talked about the property there on East Main Street at the railroad track.
Absolutely.
But
Just
I
sort of a
think
brownfield type of property.
Yeah.
We could get in and do something there.
current owners think it's worth more than it is.
What you see, Roger, is you see people are willing to. I mean, I want to accommodate people as much as I can, and that's why I think centralized parking is sometimes a better deal. Because you look at like the coffee shops on the corner, which seems to be doing
Yes.
a very good business. In the morning, a lot of people will park on the street. If they can't park on the street, they'll park behind the bank and then they'll walk. It's just you don't have to park right in front. That's what I'm saying. If you can find, like even at the laundromat, you find a centralized place, they could park there, walk 1 block to Kelly Joe's. That kind of thing. Those just thinking out loud. That's a property that could be bought.
Yeah.
And could be turned into a parking lot. It would help Blaze. It would help Kelly Joe's. It would help the laundromat. It'd help anybody in that area doing something. So just something to think about.
Well, I don't know. It's funny how enforceable it is, but down Chillicothe on Water Street, they have a sign, a posted sign, and if you park here, and then it talks about you adhere to their whatever, which I have a picture of the sign, but I thought, I wonder if that's legal, even. Okay, so maybe we can try to get safety together and come up with a solution how we want to handle this.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm good.
Okay.
Is Harrison Street getting any work done to it?
Pardon me?
Harrison Street, by colleges, they get tore up to do any water lines or anything?
I don't honestly know.
I don't-
You mean the EPA required things?
Yeah.
I haven't
I
heard
honestly
anything
don't
about
know
that.
what the plan is.
Most of them are going north and
Bert
south.
will be here at the next meeting, and he'll be in on the 10th.
Well, there one of the emails that said like Cherry Street be one way, then Harrison Street
Yeah.
be the other way.
Yes,
There you go.
That would be
kind of
that would
thought.
be that would be an issue. Okay, that would be a good solution. You're going east on Cherry Street
Street.
because the people can park, the handicap can park right in front of the place. But then you can diagonal across and put many more cars in there going diagonally across. Then Harrison Street coming that way, make it one way that way.
Mhm.
And then that doesn't affect Kelly Joe's because you can't park in the grass of those people anyway.
Yes.
You can use, but that's what I'm saying. If somebody wanted to go to Kelly Joe's, and we had a parking lot down there on the corner, 1 block walk. That's just something, we talked about that a couple of years ago, I think, Roger, 2 or 3 years ago, we were discussing possibly looking at that lot.
Yeah, and I don't remember the realtor came in, but I don't know if her price was a little high or what.
I don't know. She also offered to buy our building over there that night, and put
Yeah,
an
that's
event
true.
center
Do
in,
something
which,
else.
you get
Yeah.
ambitious.
Okay,
But,
yeah, all right,
Well, thank you, guys.
is there any other old business or new business?
I do, while we're on the topic of streets, Mayor, I've had some conversations with the work that'll start to be done with the water plant. I thought they were supposed to start moving equipment in today, but I imagine it's this week sometime.
Mhm.
I know that construction won't start for a couple months, if my understanding is correct. However, I also understand that part of Park Street will be shut down for a period of 2 years, more or less, right, while it's under construction. So my question is, have we engaged with the elementary school and how, the buses I think are fine. They have their routes, they're fine. But communicating that this change is coming to parents as they're going to be dropping off elementary school kids here in the next couple months, and that, essentially means everybody has to turn right out of the elementary, or you have to turn left and go down an alley, which is a little dicey. So I think that it would be wise for us to try to proactively communicate as much as possible that this change is coming, and if we haven't already, work with the
yeah,
elementary
send a
school
letter to
principal.
Gretchen at the school and ask her, say,
Post
hey, can you
signs.
communicate this to the parents and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, and then they need to be out there talking when they're out there talking about things.
Right.
The teachers and the parents say, listen, here's how we're going now. We don't, you really shouldn't be rolling through the alleys because that really isn't a very
Right.
safe thing. So
And maybe even if we have some temporary signage saying, hey, Park Street will be closed down for an extended
'em know,
period
yeah.
as of roughly whatever the date may
Right,
be.
yeah, I'll discuss this with Bert when he gets back. I think maybe they're supposed to start moving stuff in next week, but, I
Yeah.
heard that last week, so.
Yeah.
You
Which
know,
I think we have some time, but I do think
Yes.
it would be good to communicate to parents that
sooner the better.
it will be sooner than later that you're going to have to find an alternate and maybe plan and budget some extra time when you're doing drop off and pick up.
I agree.
I will reach out to Gretchen
Okay.
tomorrow and get that ball rolling.
Thank you, sir.
excellent.
Cause we really find some solution up here to these break-ins, and cars stolen up here, and just north of 752, all that new housing development up there. So me and my son was talking to these kids come down from Columbus.
Mhm.
That's the first occupied place. That's the closest. And they come in, that boom, that's right there. They go in there and do their damage, or what they're gonna do, then take back to Columbus. So
Right.
he said these kids, they do stuff even illegal. They'll film it and post it and just think it's funny, and they'll get caught, don't get done to them.
Yeah.
They just do it just for giggles.
I think that's something that you and I and Dave can talk about at a safety meeting on because I've thought about community watch programs. Our police, even if we had 10 more, we can't be
Yeah.
everywhere.
I mean, if you was up there, like, I guess you just if once a week, a couple of hours walking around or something, you're just gonna be lucky if you catch them. I mean,
Yeah, they're getting
they're
sophisticated.
smart. They'll know you're there, and they're
Yeah.
gonna do anything. But
Yeah, we'll bring that up. Save that, and we'll try to add that to our agenda at our next safety meeting.
Okay. So we're down to comments. Was Kelly, you here for the council meeting? Is that what you're here for?
A little bit of both.
You want to, does she have a paper now?
I just wanted to let you guys know, the mayor had asked me to head up this year's Christmas trees in the village, at the park. I need to get with Samantha. I was going to open up a Yahoo email account just so that emails could go directly there. Was going to share that with Samantha. Because of the number of volunteer committees I'm on and email addresses, apparently Yahoo maxes you at 10 per cell phone that you can attach to them. So I'm going to get with Samantha, see if we can get a generic email address set up for that program. But that is scheduled. We're going to be that'll be the weekend of December 5th. The men's club will do their Santa visit on Sunday, December 6th. And so we'll be out there. Members of the men's club have generously agreed to help me, whatever the members of the town, the work crew can't help me get set up. The members of the men's club have graciously helped,
Okay.
said that they would help set up. So I'll be getting with Samantha. We'll get information to y'all so that we can get those out into the village communications, but we
Good.
are working on it.
Okay, thanks, Kelly, for
Thank
doing
you.
this year. Okay, council, you have any comments before we adjourn for this session?
One quick one. I just want to thank you, Martina, for the fun in the sun and the success of that this summer. I know my kids really enjoy it, and it's great for us to entertain them for an hour or two. So thank you.
And the West Side Park is now open, and we're actually getting grass seed in there. Okay, so if I have a motion to adjourn this meeting,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
and second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we will reconvene at 6:30, council.